Welcome to episode number 4. Co-host Amir and Gaurav.
Hello.
We have a guest speaker today. Guest host. We have a guest today.
A guest.
Mama Maan. Mama Maan, Devinder Man. So,
Hello.
I'm the eldest son. Gaurav's the youngest son. We have two older sisters. Two older sisters. And Mom is our mom. So why don't you introduce yourself, Mom?
Well, my name is Devinder Maan, and so I have 4 children. Gaurav and Amir are the younger sons, and I have 2 daughters, Prina and Gurleen. So I am the co-owner of Maan Farms with my husband, Chris Maan.
How much percent do you own?
51%.
And this owns 49?
Well, yes. Yeah, I'm excited.
Okay, what else?
What else do you want to know?
I don't know. You can tell us anything about yourself.
Well, I was born and raised in India. Punjab is a state and a small town named Faridkot. So I'm the youngest. I have we're 6 siblings. So yeah, so I always has the privilege to be a smallest child. Everything through the culture was given to me. I had the privilege.
So what you're saying, you're youngest in the family.
Yeah, I was the
Just like
youngest
Gaurav's
in
youngest in the family.
the- Right.
Everything's done for you. You didn't have to do too much when you're growing up. And that kind of
That's BS.
still is the same in our family, the way that Gaurav is.
Yeah.
And me, I'm the middle child. Looking at both of you guys. There's
Okay.
definitely some resemblances. Okay, I don't know, maybe tell you a little bit about the podcast. That might be interesting for the viewers and obviously for you as well.
Mhm.
I think Gaurav and I sat down that first episode and we just started talking about why we wanted to start a podcast and what our direction was. We didn't really know what we wanted to talk about or what direction we wanted to go towards, but we knew that we wanted to talk about the things that we were interested in, right?
Mhm.
So we kind of just made it something for ourselves. And then I heard on Joe Rogan, or I don't know who it was, the InfoWars guys, Alex Jones, that you don't have to be like the best ever, but you just have to be something for somebody, right? And that's, I think, what's transpiring to the podcast is that we ended up just talking about farming, the wine, agritourism, our journey in NAFTA, where we are with the business, and then slowly, over the past couple of episodes, I don't know who it was, I think it was my brother or Jason, they said that we should bring on a guest speaker. And the first guest speaker that I thought about was Hugh McPherson, because when we were at St. Louis, he's like, I heard about your podcast, I'll be your first speaker. He said that, and then ever since he said that, I was like, okay, done, we'll bring him on. So I messaged him that Monday, which was last week. He said, yeah, I'll be interested. So we have him lined up for next week, Monday. And I really think that what our podcast is going to go towards is more of us just talking about the business, about people who are part of NAFTA, interviewing the people who are part of NAFTA, and that might provide value for the NAFTA members. Don't you think so? Because like obviously we like to talk about those things because they're our interest.
Mhm.
And then when Hugh comes on, we'll hear things about Hugh that we've never heard of or never had the chance to talk to him about.
Mhm.
For example, his journey to where he is today, why he has no hair on his head, things like that, right? But then we'll just get a deep dive into his personality, his journey, what it was, and where he is, right, in regards to everything. So that's essentially what we're doing here. And then we thought that it'd be interesting for you to come on board here because people who will be listening to this want to know about you and how all of this came to be and how Gaurav has an office inside his winery now. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it came a long way to where we are. So I thought it'd be interesting for people to know how we got to where we are, what actually happened, what Mama Maan's part was to be to where we are. You know,
Mhm.
essentially.
Well, definitely, I can talk about anything and everything. Oh, it's a part of my life journey. Yes.
Yeah. I think in the first episode we talked about her history.
Yeah.
From our point of view, I think Mom should mention about the history from her point of view.
Let's do it.
Yeah. So what's the history of Maan Farms?
History of Maan Farms. Well, it goes a long ways. So since 77 we have been farming in Abbotsford. We're in British Columbia, Canada. So a town named Abbotsford. When I moved in the family, it was 1985. So me and Chris got married. But then Chris and his parents were farming already. So I can tell you my part. When I joined, they used to have 12 acres. We used to have 12 acres, and I just automatically become part of the family. There was no other choice to be just go do different things what I want to do. I coming from India and being in a new country, new family. It was a kind of bit of trauma, but more excitement to learn and kind of just be support of my husband and be supportive to the family what they're trying to do and do the things day to day. That was my beginning of my journey. My job was to soon after our marriage.
So that was also kind of the acclimation into the family too, because our culture is also like that. You know, once you go and you get married, and then the person you get married to comes and is a part of the husband's family.
Mm-hmm.
That's essentially what occurred, right?
Correct.
Right. And
Yeah.
and that was the same time as they were moving, or not moving, but it's the same time as they were farming.
Yeah, Chris had his permanent job as an engineer, and then but then on the side, dad used to farm, and Chris was like a crucial part of the farming business, and so I was too. So we used to grow back then strawberries and raspberries, and before I joined the family, they were already selling strawberry roadside, like a stand on the roadside, in front of the farm. So I just happened to help them over the summer. Like I remember when we got married, and we didn't go. We got married in October. It was winter here. That year, 1985, it was really harsh winter.
Yeah.
I don't know. So
did Dad drive his tractor to work?
He did. He
Oh,
did. So it was. We didn't go for honeymoon, and then Chris decided we'll go in summer. I said okay. I just went along, and then so summer came, and then the berries were needed to be prepped, all the preparation work for the farm need to be done.
Sure.
And then I remember we used to have strawberries, and Chris, I think back then it was 6 acres of strawberries or so, maybe more, 10 acres, whatever. We used to lease as well, 22 acres leasing and 12 acres we were owning.
Yeah.
So maybe 10, 12 acres of strawberries, and we had to do a one patch doing the hoeing. And Chris said, okay, let's help dad with hoeing, and then we'll go. So Chris deliberately counted all the rows. Then he divided into 4 parts, me, Chris, Mom and Dad.
Yeah.
He said, we're going to do our share, and then we're going to go for honeymoon. So obviously I was working at home too, and I was pregnant, and with Prina.
With who? With
Prina. And then
our oldest sister.
Yeah, Chris was young, 20, 26 years old, a young man, and he used to finish his his part of the work, and then he kind of helped me and helped Mom as well. So I believe it was month of May, early May, and then we did our share, and here we go to we started to go to Oregon. That was our kind of whole idea, to just go down south, and so Dad used to have a Cougar XR7. It's a big red and white car.
Okay.
And it was very roomy, and we had loaded with our simple groceries, and we had a stove. Dad picked up from garage sale, kind of we had everything to eat. Kind of thing, we bought on our journey. And so we left. I was 21, he was 26, and we left from home. then going towards the Oregon, we've been going through different towns and Mount Shasta, and I have lots of pictures. Dad doing. You probably remember Dad doing the push-ups in a park or
Oh,
something.
sure, yeah.
he loved back then. He loved to show off or something. I would say. Yeah, he was a strong man. So.
So you kind of transitioned into the family. I don't want to interrupt, but I just to keep you on the path of how Maan Farms came to be. That was kind of your transition into who you were as an individual into the family that we are now, right?
That's
you
right.
said at that time you were carrying Brina.
Sure. I just want to fill up another thing. I just want to finish up. We went for a honeymoon, and so our money ran out when we were on Oregon, and we were traveling. Back then, gas was cheap, and we decided to go to California. All of a sudden, Dad said, "Let's keep going." we were really short on money, and back then, then we stopped at Ashland, one small town, and we got some money out. Like altogether, we spent $500. It was total.
The trip.
The trip was under $500 back and forth, with the food, with the hotels. Like back then, it used to be Motel 6.
Wow. How many days did you go for?
I think it was 11, 12 days.
Oh, that's how much people spend on 2 days. Just an accommodation.
Exactly.
Right?
We're talking about 1986.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So it was still like we made really good memories and lots of great pictures of California, and we went to end up going to Disneyland and the what is that studio?
Oh, Universal Studios.
Universal Studios.
Yeah.
And we came back and
yeah.
So transitioning to the family. Yeah, so that year, and as usual, they were already started selling the berries on the roadside. So I was helping Mom to sell the berries, and we did year after year after year. And but then.
So when you said you guys were that year, the first year you guys went on the honeymoon all the way to California.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, they're growing berries, like you're saying, the strawberries, the 12 acres you had, right? And then was everything being sold on site, or what was like? Because that was obviously that's something that we always tell our customers that we wanted to get away from the supply chain problems of going to a cannery, and we wanted to control our price going direct to consumer.
True, but back then the resources or the setup of it still exists. It was mostly all the commodity was going to canneries, like processing foods, and some of them was selling through the our fruit stand, and maybe here there some people take it to sell, like they buy wholesale from us and to sell in the city. So that was it. That was the whole nature.
Those
of
are
the
three
farmers.
different areas, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but how about us? Like, when did we transition into making the stand in the front?
Well, even when I started with the family, they had like about, I would say, 12 by 12 fruit stand in front of the family.
Okay.
Family farm. So.
Can you talk a bit about that?
Yeah. So it was under maple tree.
Yeah.
I think we stayed there for a number of years until 96. So since 1977 to 1982 to the, like, a number of years. So in 1977 we started to do the farming. 82 we started the fresh marketing, like a roadside stand.
There you go. Okay, direct to consumer. Yeah. Okay.
And then until 96 we were still selling the berries on the same location.
Just on Mackenzie Road.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Even though we moved from there to a different farm, and then our neighbor used to say, "Oh, you guys moved, but then people are coming." It was just a small, simple stand, and people were still coming and standing. "Oh, where are they gone?" kind of thing. And the neighbor told us, the neighbor Gail, and she told us, and then we there was no choice to come back.
Of course.
Come back and sell kind of thing. Like, not to lose the customers. So that was the take we took, and so then we were like, the move was we done in 94. So for a couple of years back, we came back and sold the berries in the same place before we bought this farm in 2000. I'm messed
2006?
up with number. 2005 we bought this
I think it was
farm.
2006.
Yeah, since
I think it was in the winter.
I think it
2005.
was till 2005 we sold the berries there. Since
Can you
82
reiterate the story here, Gaurav?
What about it?
Can you reiterate it real quick?
Reiterate it?
Yeah.
Like repeat it?
Yeah. Just the portion, the dates. Just so everybody has a clear understanding of exactly what's going on.
So 1972, started farming.
77. I have already spoke. Like, I can tell.
Go ahead, let's do it.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, so 1977 we started the farming.
Yeah.
Like your grandpa, grandma, and your dad.
Yeah.
And then 82 we did the fresh marketing. Started our journey started.
Yeah.
And then same place we were selling till 2006. So 77, almost 20 years.
So the same place, I just want everybody to understand that it was a 10 by 12 stand made out of wood with a roof
Just
that
just a
the
room.
front would fold out. It was just
Yes.
one room.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it was literally maybe 15 feet off the road, maybe 20 feet off the road.
Correct.
And people would park in front of it. It was under a big maple oak tree.
That was our
And
air
it was
conditioning
just
for
down
the
this,
summer.
exactly, air conditioning. It was just down the street from where we currently are now, which is
No.
Mackenzie Road.
Correct.
Reason why that was a location where we set up, or that mom and everybody set up, is because that's where they lived.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that same property is where they lived and farmed. In front of that property is where they set this up.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how people started getting to know about you guys having that fruit stand there, but I guess slowly, just word
Your
of mouth.
grandpa and your dad used to make signs, some professional,
Oh, yeah.
some handmade signs.
Yeah.
Even through my journey, my life, like I used to make lots of signs, handmade signs.
Yeah, I know. We still have some of those signs.
Yeah.
And then I told the marketing girls about it. They're like, no, we have to have them, put them up on the wall, or it'd be so cool to show exactly how we did it or what we did, right?
So many
Because it's just a part of the journey. And now we
Right.
have big billboards and we do marketing online, but before it was just signs and word of mouth.
Exactly.
Right?
We were not spending any money on marketing or anything. Maybe hardly ever. Like later in part of our journey, we started to put the ads in the newspaper. So, but then
I remember the ads in the
All we used to sell berries. One point we used to have a 4x8 sign by the highway,
Yeah.
and that's about it. It used to stay there for a whole year. And sometimes people come in the winter. So, oh, do you have berries?
Well, they still do. People still
People
come.
still
Oh,
do
want to
that.
come doing
They
strawberry
still do
picking in the
that.
middle of
Yeah.
January.
People,
Yeah.
we receive phone calls.
Yeah. Okay, so bring it back. So we set up that roadside stand, and that was 1996 when you sold that property. 1994 you sold it. In 1996 you set the store stand back up, or no?
Mhm.
Right? It's because 2 years
So
there was a bit of
we didn't miss any. Like we moved and
Yeah.
we took our fruit stand to our different property, but people, because they were used to that location, people are coming back to buy the berries from the same location. But
I understand.
there was no
Yes.
building, no people. But then neighbors told us, like, you gotta come
Gotta
back.
come back.
You gotta come back.
That's good.
People has to then just like we went with what people want, give
Of
to them.
course. Of course.
So we came back, and I remember like first few days before we built that building or the fruit stand, we used to have it just under the tree on a table.
yeah,
we
yeah.
bring the
yeah.
berries, and they used to sell as usual.
Yeah.
I understand.
There was no trouble selling it because people knew that where to get the best fresh strawberries.
Yeah.
And so then people are starting to demand, oh, do you have the raspberries, like through our journey. Then we started to sell the raspberries. We said, what? People like raspberries? Like our culture, the berries are not part of our culture. We are mango people, right? Yeah. So then
Mango.
Mango people.
we're from warmer country, okay?
Yeah.
So then people used to ask, oh, do you have blueberries? I said, no, blueberries don't grow in our area. Go to Masqui. Every farmer grows their blueberries.
Yeah.
Masqui is about, I would say, 15 kilometers from here.
Sure.
So, and then we used to send them, go there. Then one day your grandpa said, maybe I should go get some from this such and such farmer and maybe bring it here, and maybe we'll try to sell it.
Yeah.
And then people don't care. People want wherever they find it, they want to buy it. And then we start to sell the blueberries as well. And then in 2006, when we bought this, 2005 when we
Sure.
bought this farm, and then we planted some of our own blueberries, and they've been growing like beautifully here. And but our myth was, oh no, they don't grow here. We're just our land is good for raspberries and strawberries. No. It was we were in denial. We didn't want to.
Yeah, you guys didn't do
that.
much soil tests or pH
No,
analysis or none of that stuff.
None of that stuff.
None of that. You
No.
never did it.
No.
Never.
No.
We started doing that when I went to school, and I was like, oh man, it's
Exactly.
important for us to do. It's important for us to know these
I
things.
know.
There's not things that I knew either until
we were
I got
thinking-
educated on it, right?
Yeah, we were thinking you're a little bit crazy, but
Um,
but it makes total sense.
But then, okay, then can you tell us a little bit about why agritourism? Because, like, okay, we'll obviously explain the fruits, right, and the berries, and then you said in 2005 and 2006 we purchased property, right, and we are who we are, and we in this location is because you guys purchased that location, purchased this property in 2006. However, in 2006 to 2019, there's been a big growth, right, and to become who we are, right?
Mhm.
Where do you attribute that growth to?
Well, when we sold the farm on 1136 Mackenzie Road, we kind of downsized when Grandma died in accident and Grandpa moved on. He said, I want to retire. And then you guys were really young. Like when we moved from the property, Gaurav was only 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
And you was only 2 years, Brina, Gurleen, 6 and 8. So it was, for a young mom, it was difficult to run a farm because especially your dad didn't want to lose his job because that was our bread and butter, kind of sure income, so he didn't want to lose that.
Of course.
So we said we don't want to do the farming, and even when Grandma was here, we decided to sell the farm, kind of thing. That was the transition. But in the same time, Dad bought a different farm, which was only under 3 acres, and we moved there. But then after our move, your father always wanted to do the farming because now suddenly he used to in his journey he used to do hundreds of acre of farming. Now he has no kind of so he had something inside. It was not filling his kind
He doesn't know what to do anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
Restlessness.
he did open his own Nedco refrigeration.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
So he bought the van, he got all the tools. He your father's very inclined in mechanical mind. So he used to go fix people's refrigerations.
No, I understand.
Yeah.
But then from the hardcore, he still wanted to remain as a farmer, to grow things for that was his passion. So he emphasized on growing raspberries on that farm where we moved, and then the thing was I kind of opposed it. Said no, I don't want to do anymore. But your dad he kind of didn't listen to me. but I think he made the right decision. I remember we were in Seattle. He was putting the posts up and all that. And he planted it, and then there you go. Our journey started again.
Yeah.
So then we were learning, and throughout our few years of the first few years when I took over, we kind of how to bring the people to our farm, learning and seeing and absorbing. Now the household control was in my hands, and Chris mine was more busy in his job and other things he was doing. So I always had a kind of how people do that, and
Bring people to the farm.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Then I even talked to Lauren Taves, and Lauren said, "Oh, you need to go get some goats and llama, put in your farm." He told me, "Go, the people will come." I said, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Kind of, he was very open. He said, "Oh, that's how we started." And then once we bought this farm, we were always looking for a location where we can make it. It will make more sense to make it happen.
Mhm.
So then Charlie Hoffman was our neighbor where
Yeah.
we were sitting.
Yeah, Charlie Hoffman was our neighbor when we hadn't moved before. That was when we
Exactly.
still had our
Yeah.
stand on
So,
Mackenzie Road.
Yeah.
So now, because we're talking about 3 properties here, we need to explain that, Mom.
Okay.
You just like to keep going with your story, you keep telling it. It makes a lot of sense in your brain, but it needs explanation to everybody else's too, okay?
Okay.
It's a
So
good
we-
story.
It's a great story.
It's a good
So
story.
I'm just trying to give some context here. So there's 3 properties. One was the initial one where you guys had their food stand. So it's 1136 Mackenzie Road.
Yes.
Then there was a second property which we moved to where we're living now, but we're moving back to Mackenzie.
1508 Town Line Road.
Right.
Yeah.
And so 1136 and 1508 Town Line Road are about 6 or 7 minute drive away, and they're about kind of on the other side of Abbotsford essentially.
Uh-huh.
One is by the airport where we ended up moving from 1136 to Town Line. Town Line is by the airport, where Mackenzie is on the southeast side, right? Of a southeast side of Abbotsford by the border where we are right now.
Mm.
So then the third property came into context, which is around 2005, 2006, when you guys purchased this property from Charlie.
Yeah, Charlie Hoffman. Charlie Hoffman
Yes.
was our neighbor on the first property initially where I joined the family. So I used to come here as admiring his landscape. He used to keep he had a retro farm, like a farm setting,
Yeah.
very old house, 1930s house. And then landscape was marvelous, always like a only small confined place. And so I kind of got in love with this property. And I always told your dad, I want to buy this property. Even though I had no money, that was the kind of dream in my,
That's good.
God put it in a dream in my mind to buy that property. And Dad kind of initially talked to Charlie. Charlie said, no, this is where I'm living. I don't want to move. I want to stay where we are. And
Yeah, that was
so it never happened. Never happened.
What do you
And then kind of like my wish was still over in my heart. And then we learned out of a newspaper, Charlie Hoffman died. And when we learned, it was already 11 months Charlie was passed away. And I had no idea Charlie passed away.
Wow.
It was kind of shocking. So we're living in the same neighborhood and not knowing all the big news. And then our search began again. And
Oh, I remember you guys were saying that you got in an
Yeah.
car accident. I think we were at Costco or something.
Right.
I don't know what was
yeah,
going
it was
on.
there was accident
Yeah,
happened.
yeah.
And then so then we found out now the state will be sooner. There's a claim going on, whatever the legal issues and all that. The state will be selling the property. Then we talked to the kids in the family kind of thing.
The kins. Oh, the
Yeah.
people who own the people who got the property. Right?
Yeah,
Understand.
so all the
Yeah.
state people.
Yeah.
So we talked to them and they said it will be while before they can sell. It will be sold through the lawyers and all that paperwork has to be done. And then we were talking back and forth about the price. And we did, after 1 year of back and forth, we got committed to a price $585, I believe. And then they backed up.
Out.
They backed out.
Yeah.
They shaked our hand. They committed on the price,
Yeah.
but then they backed out. And
Okay.
then that was kind of shocking for us but then after a few months after, we were still trying to keep them in the talk. And they said, okay, we're putting this farm on the property. We're meeting a realtor. His name is such and such at this time. If you guys want to come and meet us, so come and meet us on the farm. And Dad said, yeah, we're still interested. We want to come and meet you. And Dad knew that they're looking for more money because they have so many like children and grandchildren in the family. They want more money. Like that was the sense of Chris. And then Chris asked, "How much more money are you looking for?" And so we end up selling buying the property. I think $785. Chris said, "Okay, I want to buy this. My wife wants to buy it. I want to buy it." And we gave them a $25,000 check right away. Deposit
Yeah.
because we didn't want them to be kind of going back on their words again. And I don't know how this happened, Amir. But then God was in our favor after all the struggle, not the struggle, like all the trying to buy this property. It happened, and it was internal kind of deal. So and after 1 year, we were still not believing this property is ours. Like even though we were farming and all that, it was this big kind of achievement for us.
For sure.
And then our dreams came true. Like then Charlie was leasing to a young fellow who was growing corn and then pumpkins. And then the fall season came in our lap. God has given us a land with a previously set up marketing, because people used to come to buy the corn and the pumpkins on this location.
They had a market stand as well.
They had the fruit stand here.
It's still sitting here at the farm.
Yes.
Yeah, the fruit stand is still sitting here.
So it was God has bigger plans than what we can think of.
That's right.
So then we started to grow the pumpkins. I had no idea how to grow pumpkins because we were the berry farmer.
Yeah. Right.
So then again, my mind was keep going, and then I was trying to find out, because you guys are still young. 2005. How old you were?
I was in grade 7.
I was 10, grade 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
So still your dad was doing the farming, and then we had one tractor back then. And 2007 we bought the first tractor. Afterwards.
Okay.
When we bought this property.
Yeah.
So we always had the custom work done on the
Kubota.
Yeah. And then pumpkins, I phoned to Dorothy Anderson.
Yeah.
I don't want to bug Lauren Taves because I will be their competition now, right?
Sure.
So I just picked up the phone. I googled Dorothy's name, and I phoned, and Dorothy said, "You gotta come. We grow this variety. You gotta come and see our farm. You need to come and see how we have made our farm out of nothing." That was her exactly wording. She said, "You gotta come. How we have built all this big barn out of nothing from the woods and all that." And I told Chris, and that was it. And then after a few months on TradeX, there's a farmers convention happen, right?
Yeah.
And I kind of forgot about Dorothy.
Every year.
Like I knew that I made the phone call, and Dorothy kind of said, "Oh, you guys are Maan Farms, and you called me and said, 'Oh, did I talk to you?' Yes, yeah. You gotta come to you gotta come to the convention happen in the Pacific Northwest, whatever, farmers convention. You gotta come there." I said, I said, "Okay, thank you," but internally I was thinking, we don't have this kind of money to go on a trip
to Oregon
and spend money on hotels and paying the fees to the society and all that. Like we can't do that. And but then Dorothy convinced that we were because you guys will be coming first time, we'll waive your fees. All you have to pay is your hotel. You gotta come. And we couldn't deny that. Kind of like saving $300 on the membership and all the dues kind of thing. We had the free meals and free bus ride. And that year I learned out of like immensely, like that was my kind of dream came true. That opened my eyes to agritourism. What can be a farm?
What a farm can be.
Exactly.
What a farm can be. How you can actually make money from your farm.
And I still remember Albert used to say, "Oh, you're the person." Like everybody say, I took so many pictures. I still remember the whole trip of which farm we went and what they had and who we met and all that. And like that was my kind of eye-opening our game changing for the Maan Farm. And then the same year we came, that was 2007, early in spring, and then we started to build our petting zoo.
So good.
And then back then it was not making sense to you.
No.
You were opposing. Why?
It was the same thing that what happened with you of going somewhere and opening up your mind. It's exactly what happened to me and Gaurav when we went to after the fire.
Yeah.
So we had a fire here in 2014,
Mm-hmm.
which obviously is a part of a journey as well, but there's some time difference there. Because you're talking about like 2005, 2006, or 2008 maybe.
Right.
We're talking about 2000, and I'm talking about 2014 right now. So after 2014, we had our fire. We had already set up. So we're fast forwarding another about 6 or 7 years, and then Gaurav and I ended up going to NAFTA, North American Farmers Direct Marketing Association. So here comes in another organization and another group of people that are influenced to who we are now, like just like Lauren and Anderson. And then going to that tour, it opened up our minds to saying, holy crap, look at this. There's zip lines, go-kart tracks, jumping pillows. People had multiple jumping pillows. People are spending $15-20 just to visit their farm for a day, just to have fun on their farm. And so that's the whole fun farm experience kind of really got a point in my brain. And then when we came back that year, you had already had set up jumping pillow, right? That year or the year before.
No, same year we did.
No, we had set it up already. Jumping pillow was already set up, but we hadn't had set up the fortress, the zip line,
Right,
and the go-kart track wasn't set up. So we were charging admission to go the petting zoo and jumping pillow, and we were trying to figure out how to fence this off and kind of make it weird, and there were people getting upset because we were charging too much and we didn't know what the right amount was, right?
We were like, we kind of divided our farm into two areas. Petting zoo is separate. Then you had to buy another
mission to go to jump. And then we had to put someone there to watch that area, and it was getting really difficult. But then when my perspective was like after and aftermath, we look at all
2015. You guys
2015. Look after you came back, right? Look at all the different areas. Look at all the competition. There was Leps, there was Lauren, there was Kraus. Lauren being Apple Barn. Look at all the competition and look at where there's points of parity. Points of parity means like how you can separate yourself from the competition. And I knew, and I think Gaurav knew the same thing too, that we had to focus our time and effort into fun. Fun is where we had to focus our time and effort, and we had to be that farm where people come and enjoy the experience of being here. So that's where I really wanted to spend my time in setting up the fortress and setting up the zip line and setting up the go-kart track. I think I was still going to school then too, obviously.
Yeah, you guys all going to school.
To university at the same time.
When we moved here, 2007, when I went for a trip, first thing was petting zoo. And then that was being built, and then I had what I seen was the haunted maze. So that was the first year. Remember the what is his name? Lauren from Oklahoma. Lauren Patman or no?
He had the technology to cut the maze.
Exactly.
Right?
So.
Yeah.
What is it? P-Bar Farm.
P-Bar Farms, that's right.
Farm. That's right. So I randomly kind of found him over the internet. And then he came for one day and he made our corn maze at 11:36.
He set it up.
And then it was our daytime corn maze. We started the school tours that year. And again, Dorothy and Albert set up our petting zoo in the barn.
Wow.
Because now we're divided into two different properties. For the fall.
Which barn? You talk about 1136.
1136. We had the barn initially there. Lord said, Albert said, you guys don't need anything. Then he gave us some ideas. Maybe set it up like this way. Then children can sit there. I had a fridge there for snacks and all that. And we used to have bonfire there. Like
Bonfire.
People loved it. And Dad used
Yeah.
to give people Disneyland kind of rides.
Through the
hills.
Dude, that's what we had a hair ride behind the tractor. Laura can talk about this.
You did too?
Oh my god.
Tell us about that.
Are you sure you want to talk about that?
Just do it.
So we had the haunted corn maze set up by that barn. So the barn was like 1136. We had the fruit stand in front. Then you had to drive through like the dirt path all the way to the end. It was probably a kilometer. So, and then we had a corn maze set up right beside the barn. It was a haunted corn maze. And then...
Daytime and haunted, yeah.
Daytime and haunted corn maze. So at nighttime we'd give people these hay wagon rides. Behind the barn, further down, there was a very hilly area. Like, yeah, probably about 45-degree incline.
Mm-hmm.
So what Dad would do was put them in the hay wagon ride. I think it was like a wooden hay wagon ride with like the poly roof. So not like the metal one we have, right? No. So, and we were probably driving, I think it was like some of the old like Ford tractor. Remember we used to have that Ford tractor, the blue one?
Yeah.
And we used to have the white one. We were driving those, so like old rusty tractors. He would take up these hills, maybe 30 people at a time, and he would go to the very top of the hill. And he was like, I'm going to give you guys a good experience. So he would drive slowly down the hill, and then he hit the clutch.
Yeah,
and then he would just fly down.
Yeah, just all because it's such a steep incline. You just fly down. And there's 30 people in the back of the tractor dodging it.
You would hear
moving back and forth.
You would hear the people go screaming. That was so dangerous.
It was so dangerous. I used to go fight with Chris. No, I'm giving them experience. He was so like proud of he's providing
of doing
experience.
That. Yeah, I know. Oh
he's
my
giving
goodness.
them. But I said, Chris, you can't do that. Once he did with the kindergarten kids, and the teacher was so scared. God. Like the kids were flying off their seats, and like Chris was, no, I'm providing them the experience of the farm. So that was start of our haunted maze and corn maze. And then we moved here, these properties, and we leased the front one, the other one, and then 2014 we bought the farm beside, and then the beside where we're moving, and in 2 days, Amir.
Yeah.
So 9/18. So we bought 890 Mackenzie Road. So we are sitting on 790 Mackenzie.
Yeah.
On the other side, north of the road, is 890 Mackenzie.
Yeah.
We bought that in 2014,
Mm-hmm.
and then 2015 we bought 890 Mackenzie. So now we are sitting on parcel of almost 30 acres plus acres of our own land. Beside we cultivate about 85 acres.
Yeah.
So our farming is divided up into 85 acres on different nine different farms.
Yeah.
So that all happened because we're thankful to our all family and friends, and AFTMA and our farmers convention, which I went in 2007.
Yeah.
PNW. That's called PNW.
Pacific Northwest.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's between BC, Oregon, and Washington. Farm meet every year in the spring.
Yeah.
So we're very thankful and thankful to our
So that's
all the mentors.
Mama Maan's history of Maan Farms.
That's the history of I'm on a ninth cloud. Now our kids are
Ninth cloud.
Cloud 9, yeah.
Cloud 9, okay.
Yeah.
So now since our three children, our Chris and me are still here, but you guys are the managers taking things on to different level. So that's any parent's dream come true, I would say. Like we're blessed.
Mm-hmm.
We're blessed in one word. We're blessed. We have the kitchen. We got winery. We have playgrounds, haunted maze, berries. We go to farmers market. We do weddings here.
Sure.
Birthday parties, school tours, everything and anything what we can do.
Mm-hmm.
In the whole Fraser Valley, we do more things than anybody does. That's what I'm proud
We literally
of.
do a lot of things.
A lot of things. Yeah, we don't sell meat here.
A lot of things for the public. Obviously, other farmers do many different things, but
absolutely.
everything that we do is pretty much for the public or bringing people here.
Yeah.
And all is surrounded around agriculture.
Yeah. I learned from a customer, setting up all the farm. It's like a passport for bringing the people into the farm. So farmers like us, it's always think.
That one's dead.
That one's dead.
Who cares? Let it be.
We got a good time.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, we got some really good content from 8:25 on. My mom talking about some really cool things.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Done?
Yeah.
No, keep going.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, this is kind of like a passport to, it just brings people, public to our farm. we're still learning. Our journey is just starting. Even though we have so many things, our journey is starting to going to the next level. The future is great, and there's great things happening in our future too. We all believe in God, and support of our local people. That is very, very
to be
important.
where it is. Sure.
That's where we are, because people's support we could not, and there's always hiccups. The fire you mentioned happened to us in 2014. But then Alicia, remember? Alicia used to work for us.
Yeah.
She said she shared me a story even after the fire. She met me. Said my professor told me when something happened like this devastated in your life, it's a new beginnings to a better chapter. Look at on the positive side rather than focus on the positive side rather than negative side. So definitely, we built the building. It was beautiful building.
Yeah, expensively beautiful.
Yeah, we put our lifelong money into into that building, but that got burnt into somebody played arson, and it was gone into just one night. It was taken away from us, and then look at where we are today. It didn't stop us. I always tell customers, still remember, some people, I never came after the fire. How did it go? People ask questions. But then look at where we are. It didn't stop us. We're hardcore farmers, rain or shine.
That's right.
We move forward. Yeah.
What are some advice that you probably wanted back then that you didn't had, or looking back at yourself, essentially what I'm trying to say? Is there any advice that you have for yourself now?
Well, in spite of all the ups and downs that comes in life, you have to stick with idea. Time is you have to give the time. Any business takes few years to set up. Patience. Yeah. Patience is the year after year after year. If we could have if Dad has listened to me to quit the farming, we would not have done it. That dream was never. When our life could have been different then, and then your life would have been different, completely, right? Yeah.